Hi, I'm Randy from Truck Bed Treasures. For 40 years, Cheryl and I have been digging through basements, attics, porterhouses, barns, anywhere where we could find and unearth treasures and put them back in the hands of the people that really appreciate what they are. So, if you're watching this video, please watch it to the end and subscribe. We go on a lot of adventures and misadventures, and we're inviting you to come with us on every one. Thanks. Enjoy the video. Randy from Truck Bed Treasures one more time. About, I don't know, 30 videos ago, I did a video with a lot of old 1800s, early 1900s bottles, and I said I had more, and I dug out a tote from the hoarder house that we cleaned out about 2.5, 3 years ago, and I'm going to get right into it. Some really interesting things here, and I'm going to start out with a milk bottle. It's a quart. It's from Fisher's Dairy, and that would have been in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So, these used to be really collectible. They still are somewhat. And here's one from Wisconsin Valley, and it's also a quart. And not sure where this one is from, but I'm sure it's from central Wisconsin. And another milk bottle from Fair Oaks. Growing up in Wisconsin, and I'm sure if some of you are my age, I'm 66, you remember the milkman delivering quart bottles and gallon bottles to your house and putting them in the milk box that was by your front door. So these are just, they bring back a lot of memories, and every once in a while I run into like a 6-pack or 8-pack holder that the milkman would carry these in. So yeah, kind of cool. So the next bottle looks like some type of a whiskey bottle. It would have had a cork in it. So, kind of a nice shape. And speaking of nice shapes, I actually remember packing this one in because it's got a green hue to it, and the glass is really awesome. It's got these lines running up, and I think it would be called a blob top, where a cork would have been in here to seal it. So that baby is old. And just the design on it, starting small and working up wide, that's just an awesome bottle. Awesome, awesome, awesome bottle. Next, definitely an old wine bottle. Slim and trim. It's really a dark, dark bottle. So I'm not sure if it has coloring to it at all. Another old whiskey bottle without marks on it. This too would have been a cork bottle. I don't know any other thing that would go over this paper / cardboard type top on it. So I would think it would definitely be a cork bottle. Most of these should be labeled, but sometimes back in the day they didn't label them. Like this one, obviously labeled. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys to read it because I'm looking at it through my camera lens. It's got a little bit of gunk in the bottom, but these clean up really well. That might even be on the outside of the bottle. I love the color of these. They're kind of that aqua. And most of these would be beer bottles. And they all say, the ones that are marked will tell you what town they came from and what brewery they came from. And some of them have the elaborate designs, like this has a leaf on it, and then the company's name. This is out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wow, here's an old Miller beer bottle out of Milwaukee. When was the last time you saw Miller Bell feel like I've been drinking beer. Miller beer in an aqua blue bottle like that. That's pretty awesome. That's part of Milwaukee history. Here's another one. I would say, when was the last time you saw a Miller beer bottle like this, but you just saw it a few seconds ago. So, you know, for a Miller beer collector, those would clean up really nicely. And here's another one. It says trademark, but, oh, here it is. That's where it's out of. Some brewing company out of Milwaukee. You know, these are cool just to set in groups. Here's one that was never cleaned up. I don't know, hoarder people are busy. Wow, this is an old Pabst Blue Ribbon bottle. Wow. Pabst, you know, it's the kind of beer I drink. That has a oak leaf on it. I'm wondering, oh no, that one wouldn't. I thought I had another one with an oak leaf on it, but an old Pabst bottle, an old Miller bottle. Here's another one from, it looks like Jung Brewing Company out of Milwaukee. Again, the colors are just phenomenal on these. You know, a lot of people will cut little indentations in walls and backlight these bottles, and it really makes a nice display. I've seen it in restaurants. This is a small bottle, and it's very clean, but very small. When I get done with this, the display is going to be phenomenal. This is a true blob top. You know, look at the color on that top. That's a beautiful bottle right there. It's got the bubbles in it. You know, back in the process of making the bottle, air bubbles would get caught. That's a gorgeous color bottle right there, I'm telling you. Oh, it's another Miller bottle. Probably have a 6-pack of those. Wow, here's another. Looks like, I think it looks like Jung, J-U-N-G Brewing, but I've never heard of them. So, you know, and some of them like this don't have markings on them, except on the very bottom. It'll tell you where they came from, what town usually. That's a smaller bottle. Again, I'm trying to keep up with you here when I'm reading. Okay, this is probably Portage County Beer Company, or Portage Root Beer Company. Wow, that's an old root beer bottle. It's out of Portage, Wisconsin. It's about maybe 70 miles south of where I'm at right now. That's a cool collectible bottle right there, an old root beer bottle. A lot of root beer collectors out there. Anything root beer, I have people kind of go crazy over. That one I can't read, it's too small behind my camera lens. But a nice color bottle. Bellevue, B-E-L-L-V-U-E. No idea what that would be. Could be a soda bottle, could even be a water bottle. I have had old water bottles like this. That's Rapids Beverage Company, Wisconsin Rapids. That's the town I was born in. You know, it's just part of history, you know. You grow up in a town and you keep running across things from that town that you never knew existed. Okay, here is pretty much of a more clear bottle. That looks like it's from Ashland. It's got a star on it. Kind of a semi-decorative bottle. Most of these will clean up really nice. Wow, here's one, another Miller bottle, but it's different. Property of Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If there's any Miller drinkers out there, I'm expecting you to comment. You know, it's been around a long time, and I think it was just rated the #1 or most popular beer in the country, which is kind of surprising. In this is a beautiful color, but there's no markings on it, but it's a beautiful bottle, very clean. You know, back in the late 70s, I remember being stationed out in California in the Marine Corps, and they came out, I believe this is correct, they came out with a beer called Miller Lite, and I had never heard of a light beer before, and being from Wisconsin, I thought it was pretty interesting, but that's kind of a memory I have of being at the local bowling alley, eating fried chicken and drinking Miller Lite, like a good Marine. So that's an interesting bottle with the vertical lines. Kind of like that one. Very clean. Wow, this is an old bottle. That's been banged around quite a bit. I can't even read what it says. Maybe you can. Through all the discoloration. I think I'll tuck that one back there. Okay, this is Marshfield, Wisconsin. Marshfield Bottling Works. Probably a soda bottle, I'm thinking. Looks like another Miller bottle with a price tag on it. The other beer that I drink. I don't drink a lot of beer, but when I do, I like drinking the old school Milwaukee beers like Blatz, Pabst, and Hamm's. And this is an old Blatz beer bottle. How cool is that? Wow, that's very cool. Can't read this one, guys. Looks like Ashland again. Okay, here's another bottle like that one. It's Ashland. See, these bottles, actually the metal loop right there is attached to a cork, and that would be pulled up, and then that cork down there would seal the bottle. You can kind of see the bottom of the cork. It's not actually made of cork, but it's called a cork. That's just a cool bottle right there. That's almost 100% complete. You don't always find them. Somebody snuck a little bottle in here. It's probably upside down. Dr. Pitt's. We'll put it over there anyway, and we'll just make believe that there was like whiskey in there. God, another old Blatz bottle. These are so awesome. They're not the great color, you know, like this one is, or some of these other ones, but man, old Blatz beer bottles. Okay, so this one has a whole lot of writing on it, and it's something beverages made in America. You can probably again read it better than I can. Celebrated, click halt, I don't know, some kind of a club, maybe it was a club soda. That's kind of an awesome bottle. It's got color, it's got great graphics on it. Okay, this one's kind of a throwback. You have that written on the front, on top, and then they break every rule in advertising by having graphics go horizontal, which could make it a rare bottle. I used to do some design work in signs, and that was a cardinal sin to have your letters and words on your sign running vertical. It should always be horizontal. It's easier to read. This looks like an old whiskey bottle. Beautiful color. They have a label here, embossed in the glass, but they don't have anything written on it. That too has the top that you would pull up. You can kind of see it a little bit better maybe on this one. Doesn't that make a cool display, those colors? They just pop, don't they? It's another Ashland. Looks like another Ashland. I'm going to have to check out this Ashland because it seems like they have a lot of different bottles. Now this bottle right here is probably for something for the kitchen, like you know, some kind of a sauce or maybe even ketchup. I don't think it's definitely not a whiskey bottle or a beer bottle. But you know, having that on a windowsill with a couple of dry flowers coming out of it, that's pretty awesome, especially when the sun hits it. It's a nice bottle. Purdy Bottling Company, Portage, Wisconsin again. It's a nice bottle. You know, I love the greens and the blues and, you know, so many different colors, and a lot of it has to do with how much sun it gets. You know, eventually, if these were left out in the sun a lot of them would turn purple from the sunlight hitting them. So there's another one of those bottles. Looks like it says Nebel. That says Weber Brewing Company. And it's in Wisconsin. Waukesha, Wisconsin. Never heard of it before. Never ever heard of it. Marshfield. Again, those are probably soda bottles out of Marshfield. There's another Ashland bottle. We're working our way to the bottom here, guys. Another Ashland bottle. I definitely have to do some research on Ashland because there is just a ton of bottles. This one has no markings on it except on the bottom. That would identify probably the bottler, possibly the state, and maybe the type of bottle that it is. Isn't that cool? I mean, to have that backlit, it's just incredibly beautiful. I wonder if they knew when they were making these bottles how popular they were going to be. This one, it means quality. Fosetti means quality. Ernest Tassetti Brewing Company, Chicago. Chicago. It's probably brewed back in the days of Al Capone. He was a Chicago boy. Ashland again. These are, a lot of them are just, there's another Miller. You know, a lot of these are just dirty and they will clean up. Some have bottle rub, which right here, when you see this, that's bottles rubbing up against each other and scratching the glass. They can be polished out, but if they have no writing on them, no graphics, it's really not worth it. But things like this clean up really easily. This is from Ashland. What you do is just take a coat hanger and put a little bit of paper towel, shove it through there wet, and have about this much water in the bottom, and then just put that hanger down there and move it around and use it as a handle for that paper towel that's down there, and then just pull it out and put another one down for the next one. They clean up fairly easy. Ashland again. Like I'm telling you, man, I gotta check out this Ashland place. There are bottles all over. Here's another Ashland. They're all over the place. Well, Cheryl and I are gonna have to take a run up to Ashland and see what's going on. Here's another Ashland. It doesn't even have graphics on it. Getting down to the bottom, guys. Thanks for hanging with me. Wow, that's a True Aid, it's called. I wonder if that's the precursor to Kool-Aid. That's definitely a soda bottle. Here's a short little bottle with no graphics on it. Here's another one with a cork in it, but I don't think this is a cork bottle. I think that's a cap bottle, but it's got a cork in it. We'll go with it. Portage Bottling, Portage, Wisconsin. There's a few of those in there. I've seen a couple of Portage bottles before. Again, we just live north of Portage. There's a beautiful Ashland bottle. I think that's my favorite color. The more sun that hits it, the brighter that blue aqua is. I mean, that's just, they stick out, don't they? They just stick out really nice. They're just beautiful bottles. Here's a no-name bottle. Ashland again. Boy, I should just take all these bottles up there and sell them to somebody local. I don't know why all these Ashland bottles are here. So I've got 4 more bottles, but you know the history of these. I actually know guys that will go out where landfills used to be, and they will just dig, and they'll go bottle hunting, and they will unearth these bottles like this, and then they'll clean them up and sell them. And that's a whole industry. You know, when we were kids, the neighborhood, we lived in the country in the neighborhood, we were on a dead-end street. Everybody would take their iron and metal out in the woods and throw it in this hole. And we would go out there as kids and dig through and just looking for anything we could use to build something. You know, it was kind of part of that inventing thing that I have going on, and that's probably why I got into product design. If you want to see what I do for product design, my website is, there's Ashland again. My website is randyjack.com, and I design mostly pet products, but I've done a lot of other things also. So randyjack.com, and a lot of bubbles in this one. But if you're interested, you can check out what I do in real life when I'm not picking and having fun. Another Ashland bottle. I'm telling you, this is the last one, and guess where it's from? Wow, you're right, it's from Ashland. So, this is what I got for you today, guys. I'm gonna move that over there. I'm gonna move that right there. I'm gonna put that right there. And maybe I'll put that right there. So, isn't that a beautiful display? You know, a few brown, a green. Not really sure what this one is for color. I don't know if you can read that label or not. That's an old bottle right there. I hold it up and it's actually a blue. It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? That would look really nice on a windowsill. So, thanks for hanging with me. It's a Thursday. Cheryl and I are going to take off for 2 or 3 days and travel the state looking for treasures that we can show you guys over the next couple weeks. We still have a bunch of hoarder totes to go through like this, and I mean a bunch. A bunch. So we keep getting new stuff every day. I'd like to show you some of the things that I got. I'll just kind of walk back here. This is my truck. There's my Marine Corps sticker. So we have a bunch of hammers that we got. And this is a yoke for a school bell. It's a number 3. And I picked these up. And I can't pick them up now because my truck is kind of blocking it. But I'm going to do something with these. I don't know if I'm going to make signs out of them. Or I can pick one up. But isn't that cool? Like you can hang it here and the frame comes over. These are off an old farming implement tool. These are all my cabinets where I have stuff. I have lots of stuff. Yeah, lots of stuff. I have more stuff. You know, I just come home and more hammers and lots of saws and yeah, I have lots of stuff. These cabinets are just full of stuff. I have totes, and I have storage units, and I have everything. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. Comment, please. Subscribe, please. And stop on back. If you see anything you like, message us, combo us. If you see anything you don't like, combo us. Just combo us. We answer them all. Trying to build a family here. I'm going to let you go. Thanks for hanging with me. Bye.